In this video, we are going to discuss curves. So first, why it provided in the lines of communication like roads, railways, canals, and others to bring about gradual change of direction. They also enable the vehicle to pass from one path on to another when the two paths meet at angle. They are also used in vertical plane at all changes of grade to avoid abrupt change of grade at the apex. To avoid abrupt change of grade at the apex. So for example, this one. So as the highway shifts its horizontal course, turning to change the direction of the vehicle at the point of intersection between two straight lines is not feasible or realistic. So the indirect transition would be too sudden and too dangerous for the driver, of course, for the car, and most especially for the passengers. So, unlike pag mag-insert tayo ng curve dyan, magkakaroon tayo ng smooth na transition from one direction to another direction. So, this therefore, it is appropriate na mag-interpose tayo ng curve between the straight line. So, the same with the vertical plane. So, ayan. So, ayan. Magkakaroon siya ng abrupt change or sudden change, which is very dangerous or impossible na mangyayari. Unlike mag-insert tayo ng curve, so, magkakaroon siya ng smooth na transition from one direction to another direction. So we have two types of circular curve, the horizontal curves and the vertical curves. Horizontal curves, these are curves provided in the horizontal plane to have the gradual change in direction. Again, to have gradual change in direction. So horizontal curves are classified into three. So the simple curve, the compound curve, and the reverse curve. While vertical curves, these are curves provided in the vertical plane to obtain the gradual change in the grade. Kanina sa horizontal curve, change in direction. Dito naman sa vertical curves, para sa gradual change in grade. So these are, vertical curves are classified into two, symmetrical parabolic curve and unsymmetrical parabolic curve. So first, we are going to discuss simple curve. Ano ba yung simple curve? Simple curve are known as the simple circular curve. Ayan. So, it consists of a single arc connecting two straight or tangents. So, yung simple curve, from the word itself, simple, so, single arc lang siya ng circle. So, simple curve is normally represented by the length of its radius or by the degree of curve. Ano ibig sabihin ng degree of curve? Yung degree of curve, yun yung gaano ka-sharp yung curve or gaano ba siya ka-curve yung arc. So, balik tayo dun sa figure. So, meron tayo dito, marami tayong simple curve. Ito, meron tayong simple curve dito. Meron din tayo dito. Dito, at meron din tayong simple curve dyan. So, elements of simple circular curve. So, of course, pag simple circular curve, nandyan yung arc niya. So, dyan yung arc, then, draw tayo ng tangent line. Ano ibig sabihin ng tangent line? Tangent line, di ba, yung a line that touches one point on a circle. So, tangent line dyan, then draw tayo dyan, another tangent line. So, di ba, ito tatawagin natin point of curvature. So, PC or the point of curvature, it is the beginning of the curve. Next is the PT. So, PT is the point of tangency. So, it is the end of the curve. Si PC yung beginning ng curve at si PT naman yung end ng curve. And this one, kung saan nag-intersect yung dalawang tangent line, tawag dyan si PI, or the point of intersection. So it is also known as the vertex. It's also called the vertex. So, 'di ba? Sa circle, 'di ba? Sabi sa based sa theory ng circle, any tangent on a circle is always perpendicular to its radius. So, yung tangent line sa circle is always perpendicular to its radius. Ayan. So, perpendicular to its radius. So, this is the radius, or simply the radius of the circle, or radius of the simple curve. Diba? Radius ng simple curve is also equal to the radius of the circle. So, this is the radius R. And tatawagin natin itong point O, or yung center ng ating circle, or center ng circle. And this is the back tangent. Ito naman yung forward tangent. Next, si T. So, T, it is, ayan, si tangent line, T. So, T, it is the length of the tangent from point of curvature to the point of intersection, and from point of intersection to the point of tangency. So, from PC to PI, yan si T, and from PI to PT, yan si T, or si tangent line. So, it is also known as the subtangent. Then, this one is the length of chord, L. So, it is the length from PC to PT, or the length from point of curvature to the point of tangency. And the point Q, ayan, si point Q is the midpoint of the length of chord. Length of chord. So, therefore, if this is the midpoint of the length of chord, ito magiging L over 2, and this one magiging L over 2. Next is the length of curve. So, from PC, LC, so it is the length of curve from PC to PT. Kanina, length of chord, diba ito? Si length of chord, itong violet. Ngayon naman, si length of curve, or yung length mismo ng ating curve. So, from PC, ayan, to the point of tangency. And point M, it is the midpoint of the length of curve. This is the midpoint of the length of curve. Then, draw tayo dyan ng from vertical line from point O to PI. Straight lang yan sa lahat. So, from point O to Q to M to PI. Next, this one, this is what we call E, or the external distance. Ano ba sa external distance? External distance, it is the nearest distance from PI to the curve. Ito yung magiging nearest distance from PI to the curve, or simply, the distance from the point of intersection to the midpoint of the curve. Next, si M. M, it is the middle ordinate. So, middle ordinate, it is the distance from the midpoint of the curve to the midpoint of the chord. From midpoint of the curve to the midpoint of the chord is the middle ordinate. So, if this is M, diba? If this is M, or middle ordinate, and this is R, diba? Pag i-rotate natin ito, from O to M is also the radius, diba? See, from O to M is the radius. So, from O to Q, magiging R minus M. Nakuha? Diba? This is R. R, then minus M. So, si OQ is simply R minus M. So, this one is what we call the angle I. Ano ba yan si angle I? So, I, it is the deflection angle, also known as the angle of intersection. So, it is the angle of intersection of the tangents. Ito, angle of intersection of the two tangents. Ito, si T1, si T, yan yung magiging angle of intersection. And it is also the central angle. Paano ba yon? Yung I dito, paano siya nagiging pareha dito? So, i-prove natin na yung I dito sa point of intersection is the same with the central angle. Paano? So, consider tayo ng circle. Diba? Sa circle, kunyari, draw tayo ng tangent line, draw tayo ng another tangent line. Diba? Based sa theory ng circle, any tangent line on a circle is any tangent line on a circle is always perpendicular to its radius. So, if perpendicular to its radius, ibig sabihin, this is 90 degrees and this one is 90 degrees. And yung circle, or center ng circle, papangalan natin point O. And this one, meron tayo dyan na angle of intersection ng ating tangent lines. So, ngayon, kailangan natin i-prove na yung angle of intersection is the same with our central angle. So, as we can see or as we can observe here, we are dealing with a quadrilateral. So, but before that, di ba, quadrilateral kasi 4 sides ito, and ito. But before that, observe natin yung dito muna. Di ba? From this one, ito, to this one, this is angle I. And we know that from this one to here, from here to here, yung angle dyan is equal to 180 degrees. Kasi diba, straight line man yan siya. So this is 180 degrees. So therefore, if this is angle I, ito magiging 180 degrees minus I. So, meron na tayong component para malalaman natin kung ano yung central angle dito. Diba? Ano ba yung, first of all, ano ba yung summation, sum of the interior angles ng quadrilateral? Diba? Yung sum of interior angles of a quadrilateral is given by the formula n minus 2 times 180 degrees, where n is the number of sides of a polygon. So, for quadrilateral with 4 sides, so magiging 4 minus 2 times 180 degrees. So therefore, the sum of interior angles of a quadrilateral is equals to 360 degrees. Kasi 2 times 180 is equals to 360 degrees. So dapat pag i-add mo ito lahat, magiging mag-equal siya sa 360 degrees. So add natin yan. So from 360, para makuha natin yung central angle dito, i-subtract lang natin itong tatlo mula sa 360, tama? So, add natin to 90 plus 90 is 180. 180 plus 180 is equals to 360. So, 360 minus 360 minus I, ilan na lang matitira? So, matitira si I. So, therefore, the angle of intersection here is equals to the central angle of this arc. So, na-prove na natin na the angle over here is the same with the central angle here. So, if this is I, so ito magiging I over 2. Tama? Pati ito, magiging I over 2. And this one also, magiging I over 2. Paano nagiging I over 2 yan? Kasi diba, same sa ginawa natin kanina, pero ngayon lang, consider lang natin tong triangle. So, yung angle dito kanina is 180 minus I. Diba? Yung summation ng interior angles ng triangle is equals to 180 degrees. Tama? So, 180 degrees minus 180 minus I, ilan na lang matitira? Matitira na lang si I. So, si I, so since this is, yung dalawa dito, same lang sila na angle, hatiin nila si I. So, magiging I over 2 and magiging I over 2 yung nandyan. So, yan. Meron na tayong, alam natin kung bakit bakit I yung dyan, I over 2 at saka I over 2. Next, this one, ito, si X, where X, it is the offset distance from the tangent to the curve. So, note that X is perpendicular to the tangent. So, from, kunyari, may point kayo dyan, point sa curve, then, yung perpendicular distance from the point of the curve to the tangent line is what we call X, si distance X. So if this is perpendicular to the tangent line, therefore this is 90 degrees. And yan, create tayo ng line from here to here. And meron tayo dyan na angle theta. Ano ba si angle theta? Angle theta, it is the offset angle subtended at PC, subtended at PC and any point in the curve. So from the tangent line to this one, to this line, is what we call the angle theta. Then from point here, draw tayo dyan papunta sa center ng circle. Yung magiging angle dyan is equals to 2 theta. So paano ba siya nagiging 2 theta, di ba? If this is theta, 90 degrees man ito. So ito magiging 90 minus theta, di ba? And since this is isosceles triangle, ibig sabihin ito 90 minus theta ulit. 'Di ba? Summation of interior angle of the triangle is 180 degrees. So 180 degrees minus 90 minus theta minus 90 minus theta, ilan na lang matira? Si 2 theta. Kaya siya dyan is equals to 2 theta. Next is yung formulas for simple circular curve. So, ngayon, magdi-derive naman tayo ng formula galing dito sa figure natin. So, lahat ng formula na ma-come up natin, dito mismo na ang galing. So, first of all, I want to remind you na hindi nyo kailangan mag-memorize ng formula as long as alam nyo paano i-draw ito and alam nyo kung paano siya i-plot. So, ma-derive nyo ang formula based mismo dito sa drawing. So, try natin. So, first muna ay ang length of the tangent T. So, length of the tangent T, so also known as the subtangent, it is the distance from the PC to PI. So, it is the distance, it is also the distance with from PI to the PT. So, paano natin makuha ngayon yung formula ni length of the tangent or formula ni T. So, from the right triangle, PI, so consider natin si PI, PT, and O. Ayan. So, consider natin yung triangle. Pwede natin makuha yung, pwede natin ma-derive yung formula ni T. So, ano ba yung, meron tayong adjacent side, opposite side, at meron tayong hypotenuse. Kasi 90 degrees man ito, di ba? So, meron tayong right triangle dito. So, si adjacent side ngayon, si R. Opposite side natin si T. And sa hypotenuse is the R plus E. Or si R plus E. So, considering that triangle, pwede natin ma-derive yung formula ni T using what function? We can use the tangent function. From the word itself, tangent, length of tangent. So, you can use the tangent function. Paano makuha? So, tangent, diba? Tangent is equals to the opposite over the adjacent. Or the tangent of I over 2 is equals to the T divided by the adjacent R. And rewriting this equation, ayan, para makuha si T, so magiging T is equals to R tangent of I over 2. Actually, marami kang pwedeng ma-derive na formula galing dito. Pwede ka in terms of E, kasi ito I over 2 meron kang right triangle, then ito I over 2 and meron kang E and M. So, depende kung alin yung given. Next, si external distance, si E. Ito naman, si E. So, it is the distance from PI to the midpoint of the curve. So, from the same right triangle, ayan kanina, diba? So, same right triangle. So, if this is R, pag i-rotate natin yan siya dyan, this is also R. From O to M, diba? From O to M and O to PT, yan yung ating radius. So, yung adjacent side natin ngayon is R. Yung opposite side is the T, tangent. And the hypotenuse is simply the R plus E. So, paano natin ma-derive yung formula ni E? So, we can use the cosine function, or we can also use the sine function. Depende sa given. So, for example, given naman si r, pwede natin gamitin yung cosine function. So, cosine function, adjacent r divided by the hypotenuse r plus e. So, rewriting this equation, magiging r plus e equals to r over the cosine of I over 2. And we know that 1 over cosine I over 2 is simply the secant of I over 2. So, therefore, e is equals to r secant of I over 2 minus r. Nakuha? Or pwede ka rin in terms of the tangent. Kung given man lang si tangent, so for example, you can use also the sine function, diba? Sine equals to opposite over the hypotenuse. So, sine I over 2 is equals to t over r plus e. So, pwede mo makuha si e in terms also with the tangent. Next, si middle ordinate. Ito, si middle ordinate. So, it is the distance from the midpoint of the curve to the midpoint of the chord. So, consider natin yung right triangle OQPT. Ayan. So, consider natin yung OQPT. Pwede natin makuha yung, pwede natin ma-derive yung formula ni M. So, we can use, ayan. So, in terms of M, so ibig sabihin, from adjacent, so we can use the cosine function. We can use, cosine function is simply the adjacent over the adjacent divided by the hypotenuse. Where adjacent, ngayon, maging adjacent natin is r minus m, and the hypotenuse is equals to r. So, cosine of I over 2 is equals to r minus m divided by the r. And rewriting this equation, magiging r cosine I over 2 equals to r minus m. So, therefore, middle ordinate is simply r minus r times the cosine of I over 2. Naintindihan? Okay. Next, length of chord L. So, length of chord, it is the simply length or the distance from the PC to PT. So, again, considering right triangle OQPT, pwede natin makuha or ma-derive yung formula ni length of chord. So, we can use sine function, the opposite over the hypotenuse. So, pero kung given mo lang si M, pwede mo rin gamitin si M. Depende sa given. So, try natin si sine function, opposite. So, sine of I over 2 is equals to L over 2 divided by the hypotenuse R. So, rewriting the equation, R sine over 2 equals to L over 2 and multiply both sides by 2 para matitira sa L. So, magiging L is equals to 2 R of sine I over 2. So, yun yung magiging length of chord natin in terms of R. So, mapapansin niyo yung lahat ng formula natin in terms of R. Lahat. So, next, length of curve na naman. So, sa length of curve, it is the road distance between end of the simple curves. Between the end of the simple curve. Ito, si road distance. Ito man yung daan natin, di ba? Yung daan natin, ito yung curve natin. Yung actual na daan, si from PC to PT. Yan yung length of curve. So, paano natin sa makuha? So, we can solve the length of curve by ratio and proportion. Yung buong circle at saka nitong arc. So, therefore, ayan. So, consider natin yung sector ng circle, ito. So, consider natin yan siya. So, by proportion, length of curve, ito. Length of curve is to I, yung central angle, equals to 2 pi r over 360 degrees. Ano ba itong 2 pi r? Diba, si 2 pi r, yan yung circumference ng buong circle. Or circumference ng circle. Diba, si 2 pi r divided by yung degree ng buong circle. Diba, 360 degrees. So, rewriting this equation, magiging length of curve is equals to pi ri over 180 degrees. And we can solve also yung length of curve using yung S equals to R times theta, diba? Like for example, considering this arc of the circle, and S, ito yung maging length of curve natin, o yung length ng arc natin, with the radius R and the central angle theta. So, makukuha natin yung length of arc natin, S, is equals to R times the theta, where theta must be in radians, tama? The theta must be in radians. Or simply, R theta times pi over 180 degrees. So, S equals to pi R theta over 180 degrees. So, same lang siya. Pi R, yan, yung central angle I, divided by 180 degrees. Another one, so if given naman ang stationing ni PC tsaka ni PT. Ayan. So, if given naman ang stationing ni PT, yung length of curve is simply, yung length of curve, like for example, length of curve is the difference between the station of PT to the station of PC. Kumbaga, yung distance dito, i-subtract niya lang yung dito, based sa stationing. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng stationing? Ang stationing class, it is the process of defining locations along the project by a station number on construction projects and divided into reference points spaced along the projects. So these points are called stations and are designated by a number such as 0 plus 100, 1 plus 200. So ano bang ibig sabihin yan? So gagamitin natin ngayon yung metric lang. Kasi SI unit tayo. So, metric. So 1 full station is equals to 1,000 meters. Naintindihan? 1 full station is equals to 1,000 meters or 1 kilometer. So, say for example, if I begin at 0.00, ayan, and measure 200 meters along reference line, I am at station 0 plus 200. Diba? 1 full station, bakit naging 0 yan? Kasi hindi pa tayo umabot ng 1,000 meters. Diba? 1 full station is 1,000 meters. So, ibig sabihin, 0 pa lang siya. So, from 0, nag-add ka ng 200 meters. Ayan. So, yung bagong station mo ngayon is 0 plus 200 meters. Or simply 200 meters lang. Pero, ang pagsulat ng stationing is 0 plus 200. Then, another one, if I measure an additional 1,300, nag-add ka ng 1,300, with total distance of 1,500, I will now be at station 1,500. Pag nag-add ka ng 1,500, i-add mo yung dalawa, magiging 1,500. Di ba? 1 full station is 1,000 naman lang. So, ibig sabihin, meron ka ng 1. Then, nag-add ka ng 500 kasi 1,000 plus 500 is 1,500. So, 1 full station plus 500 meters. So, kumbaga, in short, kumbaga, yung comma, pinalitan lang natin ng plus. Diba? 1,500, yung comma, pinalitan lang natin ng plus sign. So, yan yung ibig sabihin ng stationing. Next is the degree of curve. Sabi ko kanina, yung degree of curve, yan yung kung gaano ba ka-curve yung arc natin, or it will define the sharpness of the curve. So, yung degree of curve, pwede siya malalaman using, depende kung arc basis ang gamitin natin or the chord basis. So, in English system class, remember nyo, 1 station is equals to 100 feet. While sa SI unit naman, which is yun yung gagamitin natin, yung SI unit, 1 station is equal to 20 meters. So, it is important to note that 100 feet is equals to 30.48 meters, not 20 meters. Pero ngayon, gagamitin lang natin yung SI unit na station. So, 1 station equals to 20 meters. So, for example, ayan, using arc basis and chord basis. So, first, dito muna tayo sa arc basis. So, from the word itself, yung degree of curve natin, depende siya sa arc mismo or yung sa curve mismo. So, the degree of curve is central angle subtended by one station of circular arc. So, this definition is used in highways using the ratio and proportion. Ayan, di ba? One station is so SI unit, di ba? One station equals to 20 meters. So, by ratio and proportion, one station is to the degree of curve is equals to 2 pi r divided by 360 degrees, or equals to 20 meters over d is equals to 2 pi r over 360 degrees. So, yan, malalaman natin yung magiging degree of curve natin. Next, depende naman sa chord basis. So, chord definition, it is used in railway design. Unlike dito sa arc basis kanina, so, used lang siya sa highways. So, yung chord basis, para siya sa railway. So, eto, so dito naman, yung one station natin, based mismo sa chord. Kanina, di ba, based siya sa arc. Ngayon, based naman siya sa chord, yung one station natin. And this is, so if this is D, ito magiging D over 2. Tama? So, sin D over 2, opposite over the hypotenuse, half station, di ba? One station is 20 meters. Therefore, half station is equals to 10 meters. Opposite over the hypotenuse, R. So, sin D over 2 is equals to 10 over R. So, yung degree of curve, pwede natin malalaman in terms of R. Depende sa radius. And depende if chord basis ba siya or arc basis.